Hey guys, you're watching PhoneArena's in-depth video review of the Pantech Laser, which is currently available through AT&T right now for the contract price of $99.99. It's being built as the thinnest device to sport a landscape QWERTY keyboard, but also has some additional features that make it stand out on AT&T's lineup. The handset shares some design elements found on the Pantech Pursuit and Impact. It's constructed out of plastic all around, but it does feel fairly durable. It's 0.39 inches thick, so it is one of the thinnest devices out there with a keyboard. On top of that, it makes it very lightweight, and it's a very well-constructed handset all around. One of the big surprises with the Laser is the fact that it packs a 3.1-inch AMOLED display, it's resistive technology, and has a resolution of 400 by 800 pixels and support for 262,000 colors. It's fairly responsive. Sometimes you need a really good push to get it to work, but it does display a lot of crisp-looking colors, and the text is pretty clear just because of the great resolution. On top of that, it does sport some pretty decent viewing angles, and we didn't have too much of a problem viewing it in outdoor conditions. Below the touchscreen, you have your physical buttons. You have the send end and also the back clear key. They're very well sized and offer a really good tactile feel. On the left hand side, you just simply have the lock button, and on the right side, you just have the volume rocker, very easy to press. And on the top, you just have the micro USB port, while on the back, you have a 3 megapixel camera, speakerphone at the bottom, and when you remove the back cover, it's going to give you access to the battery, SIM card slot, and the micro SD card. We're happy to say that the Laser packs a pretty usable keyboard because we didn't have any problem speed typing away. Now, buttons might look a little bit flush to the surface, but they are indeed slightly raised, and they do offer a subtle distinction from one another. Keys are decently sized too, but they offer a really good response when you press down on them. Yet another thing that we're surprised about the Laser is the fact that its interface is pretty swift and quick. It employs this cube-like effect when you're navigating between 3 home screens. The main menu is laid out in typical grid-like form, and there's just a lot of personalization options from changing the wallpaper to even the clock. And if you look closely at the clock too, it is animated as you see the gear slowly moving around in the background. For those big on social networking, you'll have dedicated icons for Facebook and Twitter, but they simply just launch the browser to get to the mobile version of the sites. But thankfully, you have AT&T SocialNet, which aggregates a bunch of different accounts from Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, all into one separate centralized area, so it's easy to access. The messaging experience is naturally good on the Laser just because you have the on-screen functions here, which you could use for a traditional way of inputting text. You even have the option of doing handwriting if you like that. And of course, you could always resort to using the physical keyboard, which offers the best experience. Since it packs a touchscreen, the web browsing experience should be good enough for most people out there. It's powered by Opera Mini, and our site here loaded up in a fairly good amount of time, and as you can tell, it renders it just like you see on a desktop. It might not offer the smoothest scrolling, but thanks to its 400 by 800 resolution display, it makes even the smallest of text very easy to read. The music player on the Pantech Laser is a decent one just because it provides for a visualization, as you can tell, and some on-screen controls. As far as its quality from speaker, it does sound rather weak in tone, but there is a sharpness to it. There's no problems playing videos, especially high-resolution ones on the device, just like the one we have here, which is encoded in MPEG-4, 800 by 480 resolution, and as you can tell, it's running very smoothly, and thanks to the AMOLED panel it employs, it does make the colors jump out a lot better than other handsets. The handset's able to deliver some average-looking photos with its 3 megapixel camera. Unfortunately, there isn't a dedicated shutter key, so you're going to have to rely on the on-screen one. In terms of quality, outdoor conditions, they tended to have a slightly overexposed look, which made colors look a little bit off. But when you take it indoors in low lighting conditions, there is some evidence of a little bit of noise. For being a feature phone, we're pretty satisfied with the video recording quality with the Pantech Laser. It has a maximum shooting resolution of 640 by 480 and a capture rate of 15 frames per second, so there's a decent amount of detail in the shots. At the same time, it should be acceptable for most people out there. Calling quality wasn't the best on the device just because there is a noticeable static sound that can be heard in the background, and on top of that, our caller's voice did sound a little bit on the mute side. On the other end of the line, our callers did say that we sound a little bit hollow. It doesn't get any better when you use the speakerphone just because it did sound very muffled. Battery life is pretty decent with the handset, especially with its AMOLED panel. We managed to get a talk time of a little bit under 6 hours when the manufacturer has it rated for 5 hours, and we didn't have any issues as far as drop calls or sketchy connections to the network. Overall, we're pretty satisfied with the Pantech Laser, not only because it's one of the thinnest devices on the market to pack a keyboard, but it is indeed a very usable one in its own regard. And on top of that, the other features such as the AMOLED panel with 400 by 800 resolution just makes everything look so stunning with its display. And we like the fact that it employs a very quick and swift user interface. So if you'd like to learn more about the Pantech Laser or for all the latest cell phone reviews, news, specs, and information, you can check us out at PhoneArena.com.